So, guys, I just finished my last final yesterday, and I was really pumped to get back on here and start recording again. And today, I want to talk about my personal struggles with anxiety and how Jesus helped his disciples when they were feeling anxious, and how you can mimic that in your life, and how you can take your anxieties up to Jesus even after his death. And so, to start, I want to refer to Mark 8, very beginning of Mark 8, which says, "In those days, when again a great crowd had gathered, and they had nothing to eat, he called his disciples to him and said to them, I have compassion on the crowd, because they've been with me now 3 days, and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away hungry to their homes, they will faint on the way, and some of them have come a long way." And his disciples answered him, "How can one feed these men with bread here in the desert?" And he asked them, "How many loaves have you?" They said, "7." And he commanded the crowd to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves, and having given thanks, he broke them and gave them to the disciples to set before the people, and they set them before the crowd. And they had a few small fish, and having blessed them, he commanded that these also should be set before them. And they ate, and were satisfied. And they took out the broken pieces left over, 7 baskets full. And there were about 4,000 people. And he sent them away, and immediately he got into the boat with his disciples, and was in the district of Dalmatha. So first, I want to look at the disciples' question. How can one feed these men with bread here in the desert? This is textbook anxiety, right? In this situation, they look around, they see nothing but sand and 7 loaves of bread for 4,000 people, right? Without Jesus on their side, you would say, I'm certain that this is the end. We're going to starve here. These 7 loaves are not enough to feed all the people here. And so, sometimes in life, you're going to feel like, oh, I don't have the resources to complete this task, or I don't have, enough to give to God for his blessings. And that's not really the case, right? All they had was 7 loaves of bread. And yet, when they fully surrendered them to God, he was able to multiply them and feed the whole crowd. Now, all these people, they could have said, this loaf is mine. You guys can split the other 6. But no one said that. And so, in analyzing that, we can see that because there was full surrender of the possessions, Jesus was able to multiply it so that it could be not only returned, but also be spread amongst everyone else. So when I look at my life, I see situations where, I haven't really had control of the situation. I didn't have control of, what my relationship with my girlfriend looked like. I didn't have control of situations that were happening in my household back home. I didn't have control of the drama that was going on in my friend group, and all these things, they really clouded my head. And sometimes I felt like I couldn't really see that God was there. And so, in a way, I also asked, how can I feed everyone around me with nothing? Because I had no power to change the hearts of people. But all I really had to do was not hold on to these loaves of bread, not being like, no, like this needs to be my responsibility, or I need these people in my life, so I need to do everything to make sure that stays there. But rather, I got to prayer one day, and I just said, anything that brings me further away from you, I pray that you show me what that is, and that I can get it out of my life. But anything that actually brings me closer to you and helps me grow more like Jesus, keep it in my life and gravitate me towards that, make me feel peace in these situations. And so, I kind of noticed that those things happened like right away. Like God answered that prayer within about 2 weeks. Me and my girlfriend at the time split up, and I started distancing myself from my parents, setting boundaries with my parents, and I started, distancing myself from friends that I had before, who were, living in a lot of gossip and a lot of problematic things that I don't really think were from God at all. And I felt peace, I felt peace talking to my Christian aunt. I felt peace talking to the fathers at the church. I felt peace just being on the pew praying in adoration. I felt peace, where God was. And I look at my life now, and I look at the new friends I made in the church. I look at, the new friends that maybe were acquaintances before that I've grown closer to. And, I look at just everything in my life that I'm blessed with now that I didn't have when I held on to all these possessions. And I kind of see that in a way, Jesus was able to multiply the bread that I could give. And, I didn't really have much to give. I didn't, at the time, I wasn't very well versed in the Bible. My prayer life wasn't that great. And, I kind of, at the time, had a lot of things over God. I would just say, this time at Sunday morning is my God time. And I'm going to do, the Bible verse for 5 minutes in the morning. And that's it, right? And now, like, after I've given all my worldly possessions, well, not all of them, obviously, that's difficult, but I surrendered, the clinginess that I had to all these things in my life. And then I look at my life now and I see that these multiplied blessings that I have, not only for me, but I'm now able to share my faith with others and to help others be fed with the bread of Jesus. Which, if you analyze this, gave thanks, broke it, said to his disciples, take this, eat of it. This is my body, which was given up for you. That's what he did here as well. And this symbolizes what's going to happen in the Last Supper. And so, in me surrendering all the loaves of bread I have, now I have so much more. And I'm able to give people the bread of Jesus. And, for example, one of my friends went through a breakup recently. I hadn't spoke to him for a really long time, man. I hadn't spoke to him since like middle of the summer. And, I was able to pray for him and I was able to share my faith. And I've been able to do that so much more and just talk about the ways that Jesus has changed my life, the way that I see my life with Jesus. And, I never had that before. But all I had to do was surrender what was not of God to him and let him handle everything that I didn't have control of. And he multiplied it. And I just feel so much more joy than I ever did. And so for you, your loaf of bread might be, this major that you're in that you don't really feel like is bring you joy. It may be a sport that you're playing. It might be, a friend or a group of friends or a girlfriend, boyfriend that you're with that you feel is not of God. Sometimes you have to be able to surrender it like the disciples did in this passage. And when you do that, God promises you time and time again in this book that he will only give you what's best for your true happiness and your eternal happiness with him, right? He would never remove something from you if there was not better coming, right? Our God is a God of love. Our God loves us more than we could ever comprehend. And so when these things get removed, you should be excited because that means that so much better is coming, not only for you, but for all those that you care about, and you're able to share it. And so for me, I'm actually happy to, give my crazy obsession over my GPA or internships. I'm okay with even up, the desire to even like have a girlfriend because I know that God's got the reins and he's going to guide me to where I need to be. I just need to surrender these things to him and let him lead me to where I need to be. So I guess kind of to conclude, when I look at this passage, I kind of see that, even though they had little to offer, offering everything allowed Jesus to bless the whole group. And so I feel like you got to look at your own life and you got to analyze, what can I offer to Jesus that I try to cling on to? What is possibly drawing me away from him that I can let him decide, keep this in my life or remove it? And, if it stays in your life, that's great, because that means that you are drawing closer to him and he's using the relationship connection you have with yourself and that person or thing or place or whatever to draw closer to him. And if it's removed, that opens a new door for something else that you're promised is going to be better for you and you're on a better path for his own perfect will. And so, I feel like it's very important to have the strength to do that, because when you don't do that, oftentimes the longer you cling on to something, the more you're going to feel the conviction of the Holy Spirit, the more pain you're going to feel, and the closer you're going to get to the devil, and we all know where that leads, right? And so it's very difficult sometimes. You've been with a girl for a long time, you've been friends with a dude since like middle school, or you've always wanted to work for your favorite basketball team or whatever. Sometimes you have to be able to let God show you his plans and not yours, because his plans are always going to be better than yours, because you're flesh, you're of sin, so you're not always going to have the perfect vision, but he does. And so when you listen to that, anxiety kind of it can creep in every once in a while, but kind of gets to a point where that's from the devil, and that all this stressing that you're doing, all this worrying. You shouldn't, because everything that you possess and everything that you have should be of God. And if it's not, you just ask Him to reveal that it needs to be removed. That's my 2 cents. This is actually a pretty good video to make. I feel like, especially during like finals and stuff, anxiety can definitely creep in about your plans for like the next semester and what you're gonna take, and if you want to stay in whatever major you're doing. So I'll be praying for you guys that this video helps, and I'll be praying that this can reach you and really touch your spirit. Aside from that, it's my winter break already, so I hope to get back in here more and really get further into the Bible. But aside from that, I hope to speak to you guys soon.